Climate change is everywhere. In the glaciers, in the temperatures, in the vines, and in the data. But there's one place where you find it written in a way you don't expect. And today we're going into the heart of Toscana, in the middle of the Chianti Classico region in Castellina and Chianti, to show you how to read this evidence that is literally in front of all of us. And to help us understand this better, we're going to meet one of my favorite winemakers and a close friend, Monica Raspi. Moni!
Raspi!
Eccola! Ciao! Monica, can you introduce yourself? Where are we?
Of course, I'm Pomona. We are at Pomona. Yeah, I'm Monica Raspi, and I'm the owner of this estate called Pomona. The estate was bought by my great-grandfather at the end of the 19th century, and it was a big estate because he had 90 hectares.
Oh, wow.
He had the production of wine, oil, bricks, and it was an economy closet.
Yeah.
And my grandmother, unfortunately, decided to abandon all. And due to the war, due to the economic management that was changed in between the 50s and 60s, and then all was abandoned completely for 30 years, and my mother and my father in the 80s, because my father always talked about the wine from Pomona was the best, it was so good, the wine, the best in the world. My mother told to him, okay, if the wine was so good, we can try to produce it. And then they had 1 old hectare, and they started with 1 hectare.
Wow.
And now we have 6.
6 hectares.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Small estate, but
Yeah.
an estate.
Absolutely. And how many bottles do you produce every
We
year?
produce average 25,000, 30,000 bottles per year, it depends on the season.
Yeah. Quite small. Quite small. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's small, and it's, yes, of course, it's difficult, but for me, it's so interesting, this work, because in this way, I can do all the type of works. I'm here with you, talking about me, or I'm in the fields with the workers, working around the plants, or I'm in the cellar, working with the wine. It's fantastic.
Yeah, you get to touch all parts of the process. Okay.
Okay, we were talking about
So climate change.
Climate change.
What is climate change's impact on your wines?
2 things mostly. One is when you plant a new vineyard, because usually in summer we have no rain at all and very, very hot temperature. And this for the young plants is dangerous. And then you have to replant the year later and replant the year later. And the second thing is that with the hot temperatures, sometimes you have a lot of sugar and then a lot of alcohol. And the second thing, but maybe more important, you have to be very careful with acidity, because you can have a reduction of the acidity. It's an increasing of pH.
Yeah.
And this for Sangiovese,
No, make a flat wine.
it's a flat wine. It's not Sangiovese, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah. So basically, to explain, there's the relationship between acid and sugar as a grape matures is that acid slowly goes down and sugar goes up as the plant goes through photosynthesis under the sun. And so the concern, I know 20 years ago, it was always with the refractometer, you measured the sugar to make sure you reached enough alcohol.
Yes, there's a right point to harvest, but the problem, if you have this moment in advance, maybe you have not the polyphenol maturation.
Right.
And then that's this thing very difficult in the climate change. You find the right moment of harvest.
Right.
Good acidity, not too much sugar, but good maturation of polyphenol.
So if the acid and sugar could be at the right moment, but maybe the polyphenols aren't mature enough.
All it's important. All has to be in balance, and the climate change give it difficult to find this balance.
Yeah. So what happens, let's say the sugar level gets too high. What happens if the wine becomes 15.5%?
A big problem. Yes, a big problem, because I don't know how to manage this problem, but to produce Chianti Classico, we are allowed to have alcohol content between 12 and 15. If you have more than 15, it's not Chianti Classico, and that's a big problem.
Yeah.
And we have to manage this problem not to arrive at 16 degrees, because in 16 degrees you have the possibility to call this wine Chianti Classico. I'm happy because consortium is so strict, and it's good idea to be strict.
Okay.
hope to can. No, sorry, I can't tell this. Luckily, I have Andrea that tell me, don't tell this, no, silence.
If you want to know what it is that she can't say, come visit Pomona, and then she'll tell you. Come visit Pomona, and she'll tell you.
Yeah, without pictures. And,
no cameras, no cameras, and she'll tell you the real thing.
I tell you what I think.
No cams, no microphones, you'll get the real deal. In the hills of Chianti Classico, time is measured in harvests. And if you know where to look, each vintage tells a story that goes far beyond the wine. Let's head into the cellar and take a closer look together. So we're looking through older vintages of Pomona. This is 1986, 12.5% alcohol. And what we're going to observe is a gradual increase in temperature, and then it's really going to kind of take off. 1992, still at 12.5% alcohol. Here we've got 1995. We're gently ticking upwards. We're at 13% alcohol. Monica, when did you start working in the winery?
I started in 2007.
2007, so this is...
Yeah, the first black label.
Ah, okay. So we're still here at 2001. It's at 13% again. 2004, still at 13%. So this is 20 years ago. And now we're going to see it really start to climb. 2007, we're at 13.5%. And then here we have 2011. So this is 2004, we're at 13%. Now by 2011, we arrive at 14%. It's just kind of showing how it's getting hotter faster. And now we're 6 years later, 2017, and we're at 14.5%. And the maximum, Monica, you're saying for Chianti Classico is 15%.
Yes.
The maximum.
Yeah, and the minimum is 12 and maximum is 15, and then the range is small, and we are not in the between. Yeah, we are at the limit.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we started at 12.5%. We finished at 14.5%. And it might not seem like a big change, 2%, but alcohol by volume is a bit misleading, because when you talk about a percent, you think of a change of 1/100th, but wine is really only going to range from like 12 to 15%. You have some handful of wines that can be way lower in alcohol. They're the outlier. You can have a handful of wines that are higher than 15% with a natural fermentation. Usually what happens is that the yeast kind of kill themselves. They produce so much alcohol that the alcohol level becomes toxic for them, and then they die off. So it's very rare that you'll have an alcoholic fermentation reach beyond 15.5%, maybe 16 maximum. Come Amarone, si vede ogni tanto.
Yeah, but it's not allowed for the Chianti Classico.
Of course
not. We
not. So
can't produce
here,
a
no.
wine with 15, more than 15%
that's the
of
max.
alcohol.
So, yeah, so it's misleading, this concept of percent, because you assume like, oh, 1% change, it's not that much. But if you look at the possible range is really only between 12 and 15%. So a change of 1% when you're talking about 12, 13, 14, 15, that jump to 12 to 13 is like a 20, 25% jump. So it's like massive. So if you're moving from 12.5% to 14.5% alcohol over the course of, I mean, this is, 20-ish years, 25 years or something, like that is huge. That is like a freaking hockey stick curve. Not ideal, but that's what's happening. What do you think is going to happen if it keeps...
You have to continue to work, looking at the plants and following and trying to leave all the leaves and not to enherbing, and not what we told before.
In the vineyards, yeah.
And not to reduce the grapes, because in this period, in the past, we reduced the grapes to concentrate.
The sugars.
And now we don't want to concentrate at all.
Yeah.
And then we leave more grapes on the vineyards.
Because you'll have enough.
If we have it,
yeah.
yes. And to have a little bit more alcohol as possible. And then we will see.
To try to moderate the alcohol.
Yeah.
So, because basically what happens is if you have fewer grapes, then you have more concentration of sugars.
And then you have more sugar, more alcohol.
Yeah. So that's the
same thing.
Yeah, exactly. They're perfectly
we
related.
don't have sugar inside these bottles. All sugar is transformed in alcohol, and then if you have more sugar, you have more alcohol.
Yeah.
It's simply.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone that denies climate change, that says climate change is fake?
I don't know, because if you don't trust in the climate change, maybe you close your eyes. In Italy you have prosciutto intorno agli occhi, come si dice?
You have prosciutto around your eyes?
Yeah, you have prosciutto around your eyes. Because you read the temperatures just from the 50s till now. There's the climate change.
Yeah.
It's not normal.
And you see it in your wines too. I mean, in 30 years, the gradazione alcolico, you just watch the alcohol level go up. You're, like every 2 years, 5 years, and then especially in the last 10 years, it's like really just...
Yes, we started, in the 80s, we didn't have the climate change. The climate change, usually we tell that is starting in 1995. Okay. That's the first starting of the high temperature. And till 1995, we had 12 degrees, 12.5 degrees of alcohol. And now it's very difficult to have 13. Usually we have 13.5 or 14 or 14.5.
Yeah.
Every year. And then
it's kind of like the opposite problem.
Look at.
Yeah.
And use your brain.
I love it. If you don't believe in climate change, just use your brain. It's
simple. It's simple just to look at.
Yeah.
But the story doesn't end in the cellar. Outside, among these vineyards, climate change is visible. Hailstorms destroying the harvest in a day, land becoming impoverished, plants suffering from the heat like never before. In the next video, we leave the cellar and head to the vineyard, and to see how Pomona is learning to adapt, and what it means to make Chianti Classico when the climate no longer dictates the same rules as 30 years ago.